Hey, this is number two of our new consultant training. This happens to be June of 2026. This video will probably be out there for a little while. Let's recap just a bit. I'm going to try to finish up with this in less than 40 minutes for sure. But today we're going to recap a little bit from last time. We're going to talk about your own personal use products you're using. We're going to talk about time management, emotional management. We're going to talk about how to have a power start if you really want to work this as a business and you want to get started. And I'll kind of give you some details on that. And we're going to go over a little bit of what's on Mary Kay and Touch. One thing I'm not going to do, I am going to talk a little bit about entering customers in accomplishment sheets, but I have discovered that when I load these videos on our YouTube channel, that if I show anything on Mary Kay and Touch and it lists any of my customers, that it deletes it off of YouTube because it has people's names. So I'm going to try to walk you through it the best I can without going to all the screens. But if you need additional help with that, I can definitely walk you through it. It's just the last time I recorded it, I loaded it to YouTube for further use, and then YouTube deleted it because I showed my list of customers when I went into my Mary Kay and Touch. And so I don't want it to do that again. I want you guys to be able to have this. So just really briefly, um, a recap from the first week. Um, Make sure that you have looked over Mary Kay and Touch a little bit, which is the website that we use as consultants. And we're going to talk about some of those things today. And I mentioned last time Mary Kay Confident. So let me just go to that really quickly. Yeah, here we go. So I think I mentioned last time how you go to education and you go to new beauty consultants start here. And that takes you through a lot of the initial training that you need. And it will walk you into Mary Kay Confident. But this is also Mary Kay Confident right down here from the same place. And if you will go through as many of these trainings as you can just do it at your leisure, just as you have time. You just go through each section, and as you complete it, you get bling buttons over here. And then if you start to go through that and you have any questions, you can always ask me any question that you might have about anything that you've come across on Mary Kay Confident. So a lot of the training I'm doing is going to cover some of the things that are on Mary Kay Confident. But I just wanted you to be aware that this is a really great place for training. So I would definitely do that. If you are in your first 4 months of being a consultant, definitely make sure you're clear under education and new beauty consultants start here, how you can earn free product, which we talked about that a little bit, because you only get that free product in your first 4 months. If you miss out on it, you miss out on it. It's okay. Nothing's wrong with that. But I just want you to be aware of it. And if that's important to you, I just don't want you to miss out and not get your free product. Um, Also, if you are really wanting to work this as a business and you would like to have a business launch, as I mentioned in our first training, we can do that in person. We can do that on Zoom. We can do that on Facebook. I can definitely help you with that. And then make sure, we talked about it briefly last time, I think it's worth it for everyone, even if you're someone that doesn't think you're going to run this like as a really good part-time business, you're just going to sell to a few people. I think it's worth it to set up the My Shop account, which is your website. And I believe we talked about that a little bit last time, but let's go back in here. You do that from your Mary Kay and Touch, and you just hit My Shop right here. And it takes you through setting everything up so that people can shop on your My Shop, which is your website. It does not cost you anything to have a My Shop. And then within the My Shop, when you're setting it up, you set up a Stripe account, and that's how you charge cards, debit or credit card, on your MyShop. And that's really the only way they can pay if they're ordering off your MyShop, because the company mails that product directly to your customers, and then they just and then you attach your bank account to your MyShop account, so that once that card is charged and it goes through, then Mary Kay is going to automatically deposit your profit directly into your account. And so that's all part of your website. But if you also want to be able to take debit or credit cards outside of your website, say someone's just buying product from you, or they come to you and you're having a party and they hand you their debit or credit card and you want to be able to process that, I would set up a ProPay account or a Square account, either one. I've used ProPay forever because that was just, they used to have a deal with Mary Kay. And really now I just upgraded, or I just renewed my ProPay account last week, and they're not charging us any kind of yearly fee as Mary Kay consultants to have a ProPay account. I don't believe Square charges you anything either. The only charges you're going to get is the actual per transaction charge. So there's a little percentage of that they charge just to charge the card, but there's no fee for the year. So it's just propay.com or square.com. You can go and just sign up for that account. And then Square will probably send you a little Square that you can connect to your phone. ProPay does have that ability. I think they charge you for that little jack at ProPay. And so I really haven't been using it, but you can charge on an app on your phone. You can do it on your laptop or computer if you have it. So I would suggest that you get that. So that kind of recaps a little bit of what we talked about last time. The other thing I want to share with you guys a little bit is, probably you were already a customer of some sort, a Mary Kay customer, before you became a consultant. But there are a lot of products that Mary Kay has, and this kind of says, you want to be a brand ambassador for your business. And the more products that you are personally using head to toe, you're going to get your discount on those. And we talked a little bit last time between the 30% and the 50%. I highly encourage people to do enough so that they get their 50% off on all of their products. So it makes it really worth it for you. But step one is just to look at what are you using that Mary Kay could offer for you, and definitely worth it to try it. So first of all, hopefully you are on a Mary Kay skincare regimen. That would be the number one thing you should be on. Now, can you mix and match these? Absolutely. So you might be on Time Wise Repair Set or Time Wise Miracle Set. You could potentially be on the Mary Kay skincare line or the Clear Proof set. There are a couple of products on this sheet because Mary Kay's just made a lot of product changes really in the last 6 months. So there's a couple of things on here that are a little bit different. So like, for example, we don't still have the cleansing bar, but we do have the Mary Kay Men's set, the Clear Proof set, and then of course, Clinical Solutions, which is really, to me, that's in addition to your skincare set. Your basic set would either be the Repair set or the Miracle set, or some kind of combination of that. And then skincare supplements. So Clinical Solutions, you can't really use Clinical Solutions without a Miracle set or a Repair set, in my mind. But so to me, it's additional skincare supplements, but it's listed here as a skincare regimen. But you could be using some of those. And then these are all the supplements. And so if you're like, I'm not sure what I should be using, definitely ask your recruiter or myself. Sometimes you come into this and you're already using, 20 products. And so that's one of the reasons why you've signed up. But if you need additional help with what should I be using in addition to that, these would be your supplements. And then, of course, we have oil for eye makeup remover. Like, everybody needs oil for eye makeup remover. And then foundations, probably foundations and color and powder. But we do have body care products. So you could get your body lotion. Your targeted action toning lotion is amazing. So there's lots of things that you can get. Plus, there's great items for gift items too. So that kind of helps you when you're first purchasing products, and then you want to be able to get your free products. And so anyway, this is just kind of a little checklist. And so this would kind of help you determine, okay, what all could I be using? And it's really not very hard if you're using all these products to get an active order in, which active just means you're hitting 450 retail, which is typically 225 wholesale, because you're getting the half off. Um, that's an active order. If you hear us say a qualified order, that's a 600 wholesale order, which would be 1200 retail. So remember, we're always either talking in retail or wholesale. And we used to always talk always in wholesale, but the companies kind of changed some of that just due to them offering 30% off if you don't hit enough, or you're not currently active when someone's hitting your My Shop. So it's gotten a tad more confusing, but just always, if you're confused about that, just always ask, because you never want to not get your 50% off just because you didn't understand the difference between the retail and the wholesale. Basically, wholesale is your cost. Retail is how much you would sell it for. And so, if you have any questions about that, you can let me know, or your recruiter. And the other thing I'd like to show you while I'm um, talking about products a little bit, and I'm going to go back to Mary Kay and Touch. We do have a 100% satisfaction guarantee on our products. So, if you sell a product, they're not just gonna, okay, say you decide to order products and you get them in and you're like, well, I don't like this one, or I don't like this one. They're actually a little stingier on stuff for consultants. Like, they don't necessarily just let you call them and say, I didn't like this, I'm going to take it back. So I'll just be honest with you about that. So, but if you're selling it to a customer, they do. And so I can help you if you end up finding that there's not a product that you don't, if there's a product that you don't like. But if you just make a mistake when you're ordering, you can't really just say, oh, I'm just going to fix that. So once you hit enter, and that's the product you have. However, they are good about wanting people to have the 100% satisfaction guarantee. So one of the things, though, that they've gotten a little more stringent on in the past, because I've been in Mary Kay, it'll be 28 years in June, really, they would take anything back, like even really old things. But we consider our product, for the most part, to have a 3-year shelf life. So if you are to purchase that product and you stick it on your shelf, or if you're even buying a couple of things for yourself and you're like, well, I think I would use that in a year, you're good to go, because everything should last 3 years if you haven't opened it yet, unless it has an expiration date on it. And most of the time, something with SPF in it might have an expiration date on it, and then that would only be a 2-year shelf life. But you're really fine getting enough products to last you for a year, or your customers for a year. What they've now done is they have made it where if it is older than the 3-year shelf life, they're not going to let you do a return on it. So, and they want you, if a customer returns a product to you, they want you to do the return quickly. They don't want you to be holding on to that product and then a year down the road you're trying to return it. And so that's what they're getting away from. So I'm going to show you two things. First of all, if you go under business tools, a couple of the places that are really going to be helpful to you are document library and digital image library. So documents are more like PDFs. Digital is going to be pictures that might be helpful to you. But within the document library, there are lots of different areas here, and you can like, once you go into one, if you want to click favorites, it'll pop up on this first screen. So I've put some information that I tend to look up for on a lot in my favorites, so that it pops up here right from the beginning. But if you go down to product knowledge, there is a section here called How to Read a Mary Kay Day Code. That is something that you do need to know about if you ever have to do a product return. So currently, as we are in the middle of 2026, our newest day codes that are going to show up on the product, and they're typically on, so here's a product I have right here. So this is a foundation. And so the day code is going to be kind of hard to read, but it's going to be in the little crimp right here. And so sometimes I have to get a flashlight to see it. And it starts with the year. So the first code is the year, and that's what you're going to be looking for. So the first code, right currently, if you're ordering, is probably going to be a K. So if you tried to return something right now with a C, that would be 3 years down the road. So they'll return something right now that has a K, an H, an F, or a D as the beginning day code on your product. The day codes are 4 alphanumeric codes. And so, like, it's based on the year and the month and the day that it was manufactured. So, if in this example on this page, it says the day code shown above is DD25, that means this product was manufactured on April 25th. So, the 25th is the day, the D is April, and then the other D is the year 2023. So that's important to know if you're looking at products, if you're ever trading products with other consultants, or if you're doing product returns, because you have to have the day code when you do the product return. So, and then you can do product returns also on Mary Kay in Touch. Let me just show you where that is. The first time you do it, you might, to get out document library, but that's a really helpful area, that document library. To do product returns, it's under ordering. And this is where you place your orders as well. And then it's called product replacement. And when you go in here, you have to put in, which customer returned it, what day did they return it, what is the day code, and what was wrong with the product. It can be that they just didn't like it, but you need to put that in there. And then what you get back is something that's within $2. So it doesn't have to be the exact product that you get back. And then you typically never have to mail that product to Mary Kay. You just hold on to it till they mail you the new one. And then if it's something like that's a squeezable tube, like a cleanser or something, then I'll go ahead and use that in my demos. But if it's a lipstick or an eyeshadow or something that they put on their face, then I just throw it away. So that's kind of helpful information. I kind of took a rabbit trail about talking about 100% satisfaction guarantee, but I wanted you to be aware of that. So one of the things that's really the most important in our Mary Kay businesses is our time management, because generally when people come into Mary Kay, they're not people that are sitting around doing nothing. A lot of times you're working a full-time job, or you have children, or you do volunteer work. I mean, typically I never get anyone to into Mary Kay that's doing nothing else. So it's important to understand, how do I fit Mary Kay into my current life? And are there other things that maybe I need to let go of if Mary Kay is important to me? And so that is up to you. You have to figure out for yourself. And we do some trainings on this, on, what is valuable to you. We're not going to tell you, you have to do it this many days or whatever. But if you tell me this is how much money I need to make and this is how much I need to profit, then I can guide you with, this is what you would have to do in a week if that's how much money you need to make. And so then this would probably take about this much time. And so then you'll have to determine, okay, how does that fit into my day? So one of the things that's really helpful, I'm going to get in here and let's see if I can pull up what I want to pull up. Okay, we're going to look. This is a weekly plan sheet, and of course it's sideways, but I'm going to show you another sheet here in just a second. This is literally taking every day that you have, and like for every hour of the day, planning out your week. Now, this is a lot of work, but it is worth it to do it initially so that you can see, where are you spending your time. The other thing that we do is we do these brain drain sheets. So I recommend people do this a lot, just to get everything out on paper. So this particular sheet has things broken out in between personal, professional, planning your meals, and delegation. It might not fit exactly that way. You could do it in a box form like this. You could do it in sheets, like Okay, I'm going to list everything personal I have, everything professional I have. What are my meal plans for the week? What's my shopping list? And what things can I do to delegate? And then here is a weekly plan sheet again after you have done all that. It is really worth it to do this for a while so that you can see what all do you have, what all could be delegated, and what am I doing that maybe don't need to be doing. Um, so, and you can learn how to work Mary Kay in pockets of time as well. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second and talk about this. So I would do this for a full month and see how it goes. And then once you kind of learn this system, then you can kind of come up with a system that works for you. For some people, they need to sit down every week on Saturday afternoon and plan the whole next week. And it's amazing how much more you can get done. So one of the values of being a Mary Kay consultant is we do so much training on time management. And so it really helps you become a better time manager. And, this takes a little time to figure out, but if you do it for a month, then you kind of figure out, okay, one of the things that I've always figured out in doing this, and it's still hard for me, is that I think I can do more in an hour than I can do. And so I've learned how to, schedule in buffer time because then you're going to receive phone calls or whatever, and you've got to be able to handle that. If you work a 9 to 5 job or 8 to 5 job, and that's really all you're going to do while you're there, then you can block that off. So maybe some people that work Mary Kay full time do a little bit of Mary Kay work during their lunch hour, or maybe they do it as soon as they get home and then they rest the rest of the evening. So we do talk about rest time, and we don't want you working 24/7, but it's a way to figure out where am I wasting time and where can I fit Mary Kay in pockets of time. So it's really important to understand that. The other thing that Mary Kay the woman always said was to write down the 6 most important things you have to do the next day, the evening before. And that way you're hitting those things first thing in the day, or you've got it planned for the next day. And she had this little story, and I'll put this up there that she talked about. Let me see if I can hide this really quickly. Okay. Trying to hide this so I can see all my. Okay. So she had this little story about the 6 most important things. So she said she heard a story that really had a lasting effect on her, and that's why she always said to do the 6 most important things. So Charles Schwab, who was president of then small company called Bethlehem Steel, had gone to this guy and said, I want to increase our efficiency in our cells. And it said, will you allow me to spend 15 minutes with each of your executives? And so Schwab agreed to that. And so Lee spent 15 minutes with executives from the struggling young steel company and asked them to complete a single task. Every evening for the next 3 months, each executive was to make a list of the 6 most important things he had to do the next day. Finally, the executive was to rank the items in the order of importance. Each morning, begin with the first item on the list and then scratch it when it's finished, and just work your way down those 6 items. At the end of the 3-month trial, efficiency in sales had increased to such an extent that Schwab sent Lee a check for $35,000. Now that's still a lot of cash for such a small amount of work, but in today's money, $35,000 would probably be the equivalent of $350. So that really impressed Mary Kay, and she understood the value of the focus of hitting those most important things. And so that's really why we talk about that, and also doing your brain drain sheets and your get back out of here, and your weekly plan sheet. So time management is very important because more than likely you're doing more than one thing. The other thing we kind of talk about a little bit is emotional management. And I didn't really pull up I have a sheet on this, and I didn't really pull this up today, but we can talk about it more. Usually when you first start, you're just so excited and you're willing to do all the training and you're willing to do all the things. And a few months down the road, maybe you kind of run out of the first people you talk to, or you've had some no's, and sometimes there's some things where the excitement has waned a little bit. And so that's very common. And I would suggest to you that the people that make it in this type of business are the people that don't quit, for one thing. Secondly, they're the people that reach up. So you reach up to your recruiter, you reach up to me as your director, and we guide you and help you and encourage you, because there are ebbs and flows in this business. There are some months that are really great, and there's some months that aren't as good, and that's just normal in business. And there's times where you're going to get tired, and there's times when things aren't going to go as well. I'm just going to tell you that happens. But what I found in my it'll 28 years this month, is that that just sticking with it. Sometimes you have things in life like health things, or things are going on with your family, or it's just a particularly busy time. And so the cool thing about Mary Kay is that you can set it aside a little bit, especially if you've built up customers, because those reorders are going to keep coming in if you've built up customers. And so that you're going to still get those sales. You might not be in a building mode at that time if you've got a lot of things going on in your life. But the cool thing is, this is a consumable product that people are using and washing down the sink every day. And so they continue to need it. And so that makes this a really great business to be in, and makes it easy to get through times that are harder. So I just want you to be aware there will be some ups and downs and some emotional management that has to happen. But just know that you can always reach out to your fellow Mary Kay consultants. You can reach out to me, and we'll guide you and help you in that. So it is important. I just talked about, if you had to set down your business for a little bit, but you've built a customer base. There's a couple of things that I think that are important. And let me go back to Mary Kay in Touch really quick. So I think it's really important, as you get customers, you get their information, you get their email address, you get their phone number, and you get their mailing address. And through all of my years in Mary Kay, I felt like it was important to do the preferred customer program. So each quarter we get a new lookbook. And even though so many things, like a lot of people go to websites now, a lot of people don't keep getting catalogs, or they don't, people still love these. And I think they're still important to get those into people's hands, because it shows all of our products, it shows all the new things for that quarter, and in the back of it, it lists all of our products. And so for the most part, people still want a hard copy lookbook. They can go to your My Shop and order, they can go to your My Shop and look, but I would say 95% of people still love a hard copy catalog, regardless of their age. So we do have what we call the preferred customer program. And so once you get all of your customers' information, there's a couple of places you can add them. You can add them here into My Customers. I'm just not going to click on that since it'll show My Customers. And you're going to add their information. You can also go to Business Tools and go to Preferred Customer Program. You can add customers' names and addresses there as well. Either place works, because whether you enter it in the Preferred Customer Program or you enter it in My Customers, it's the same database. So if you enter it in one, you're going to see it in the other. I think it's really important to enter all your customers in there. And then I always send out a deadline of when these lookbooks are supposed to go out. And you go into Business Tools and Preferred Customer Program, and you basically, your customers that you've listed under Create or Update Customer List, you can hit Enroll Customers. And it's just going to list every customer that you've entered, and you just put a little check mark by all the ones who you want to get the current lookbook. It usually mails about a month after you have signed up. So if you look down here, here's our enrollment dates. So for our summer lookbook that got mailed, begin mailing on May 7th, we signed up for that by April 17th. And the next enrollment will be for the fall holiday lookbook. And we can, and those products are good for September 16th to November 15th in that lookbook. The enrollment dates go through August 17th. So August 17th will be our deadline to register all of our customers. It will begin mailing on September 7th. And then September 15th is when any of the new products for fall and holiday will show up on your My Shop account if they wanted to do online ordering. So you can see those dates here. And then it does cost you 95 cents per name, but whenever it gets mailed, let me just show you. I think I have one. I may not. Thought I had one in here that was a mailed one. But what it does, when they mail it, the company will have on the back, it'll look like it's coming from you. And it's mailed to your customer, and there'll be a cute little, I don't know, they'll just say, look for inside here for whatever's exciting. And then inside, like this last time, they put a little sample of this new cologne right here. So everybody will get a sample. It's usually cologne, lipstick, it could be a little sample of a skincare product, whatever's new that's happening right then. Usually they put that sample in the first few pages of the book. It looks like it's coming from you, but it's getting mailed directly from the company. And it is worth the 95 cents because if you had to mail them yourself, it would be so much work and it would cost you way more than 95 cents. And this helps them, this gets this in front of their mind when they get this. You can also set, whenever you put their email address in the My Customers, the company sends emails every so often with new products, so they could receive an email. Now, they can opt out if they don't want to get it. It's fine, but they also will receive emails. So it's good to kind of get that in front of them of their face so that they can see that you are a Mary Kay consultant, you're still a Mary Kay consultant. And if you are someone that doesn't want to have a whole lot of customers, you're just wanting to get a few, you can mail these to as few or as many people as you want. And if you have if you've signed up to sell to at least one person, then you will also get one a catalog in the mail. Plus, I mail one catalog to every consultant every month or every quarter whenever these new ones come out. So that's important. The other thing that I think is important is in the My Customers on Mary Kay in Touch. I'll go back there. So this was in the preferred customer area, but remember I said the database is the same. Just going to go back to home. Under My Customers, you can also add every single order that a customer places. So within that customer, you find that customer and then you say, okay, she ordered Mary Kay Time Wise Miracle Set Normal to Dry, and you pull that up and you add that as an order. So under My Customers, you can also see all the orders that your customers have made. If they placed an order on My Shop, it's also going to be listed in the customer list. We'll talk more later about how to do a customer delivery service order where you can actually have you can choose to have the company mail it to them. It's not through your personal website. It's just they've called and ordered from you. Maybe they don't live where you are. You can go into this My Customers area and also do what we call a customer delivery service order as well, where you're requesting that the company send that product directly to them instead of to you. You still have to pay for it yourself, but then you can collect the money from your customers. So all of that is done in My Customers. But whenever you do enter the customer orders here, then when you go each week and on our meeting, and then for two reasons, you want to do what we call weekly accomplishment sheets, which this is right here. If you enter each ticket for your customers, it will pre-fill your weekly accomplishment sheet based on the date of that order. And then that helps us see how much are you selling every week. And if you have goals, that's really helpful because then you can stay on top of where you're at. And then we recognize you on our for your weekly accomplishment sheet on our weekly success meeting if you're attending those. And that is also super helpful for you for the end of the year when you have to do taxes, because then you have all of your sales already uploaded into the weekly accomplishment sheet. And it pre-fills for you if you have entered those tickets for each customer. So as you get busier, we talked about that delegation thing. As you get busier, you can have someone help you enter those tickets if that gets to be too much. And we're going to talk a little bit more about time management as we go through these trainings. And I try to spend 1 day a week that I just do that. I just make sure all those tickets are entered. I know my accomplishment sheets are entered. I know how much my sales were for that week. And that is kind of running a business. That's what's important about running a business. So we have only got about 5 more minutes, and so I want to share a little bit about, okay, if I, how do I, when I get started with these customers, how am I going to do that to begin with? So you'll have probably received a text from me that shows this little form called a Frank's list. So there's a couple different ways, but when you're first starting, um, you want to write down, okay, who are all my friends? I mean, I want you to write down everybody you know. So we used to say to make a pretend wedding list, and you're mainly focused. It depends on your situation. Like if you're someone that works in the business world and you work with a lot of men, you may put a lot of men's names down. We do have men's products, but for the most part, you're probably putting ladies. And so you're going to write down every friend you have, every relative you have, go through your Facebook page, look through, your friends on Facebook. Who are all my acquaintances? Who are all my neighbors? If you are someone who has children, you typically have contacts with other, like their coaches or their teachers or something like that, or their friends' parents. So you literally want to make a very big list of everybody you know. And I always tell people to go with like at least 100 people to begin with, because that's where you're going to start as you build your business. If they're not interested, that's fine and you move on. But that's where you get started doing your business. And I will tell you that now we are a lot more on social media than we used to be. And so you can sometimes get customers through just posting on social media. But that to me, I have found is not the best way. And sometimes you get disappointed because you feel like I'm posting, I'm posting, I'm posting. I'm not getting a lot there. That is a part of what we do. But don't feel like that all you're going to be able to do is post on Facebook and have a thriving Mary Kay business. My experience has been, unless you're already a huge influencer with thousands of people that follow you, you're not going to get all of your business there. Yes, you can get some there, but I just want you to be aware of that I think some of our tried and true ways of reaching out to people and booking, which we're going to talk about more next time, um, is the best way to do it. And when we get started, we recommend, and I'll show you this before we go, right here, that you do either a perfect or a power start. And this says to do 15 faces in 2 weeks or 30 faces in 30 days. That would definitely get you started the fastest and get you the most customers and really get going. And so if that's the the speed you want to go, I definitely can help you with that. But I don't want you to be overwhelmed by that or think, oh my gosh, if I can't do 30 faces in 30 days, then this business is not for me. If you need to take 2 months to do 30 faces, that's okay. Just know you're going to get more money and get things started faster the more you can do in a short amount of time. But that's not a requirement. We can work around that. And this gives you like a script on how to get started with those 30 faces. And this also tells you the potential benefits. So if you did 5 what we call skincare classes, which we talked about that a little bit briefly last time. Skincare class or party is 3 or more people at one time. You can do that or you can do one by one by one. But this tells you the potential sales that you're going to get and how many new customers you're going to get. And so this is really the best way to get started. If you can't do it in 30 days, if we need to space it out in 60 days, that's still okay. The thing about Mary Kay is consistency. The more that you can do continually at the speed that you can go, the more you're going to build. Some people go really fast at first and then they slow down a little bit. It just depends on what works with your schedule, and I'm happy to work with you on that. So we're going to talk more next time on how do we book those. How do we book all those people? How do we handle those parties? What do we do on the first parties or the first faces, especially if you are like, okay, I don't know everything about every product yet, so how do I do that? Those are the things that we're going to talk about in our training 3. But at this point, the main thing is to do some of your MK Confident training, to start practicing doing your time management, like your brain drain and your weekly plan sheet, your 6 most important things to do. Um, if you do already have customers, practice entering those into Mary Kay in Touch and get all of that going. And if you're wanting to do a business launch, then let me know about that. And that's kind of your next steps at this point. And then we'll have another training in a couple of weeks and our 4th training then a week after that. And you could be watching this as a recording, and then you can just watch all the recordings at one time if you want to. So anyway, thanks for listening and hanging in there. And always, if you need any of the sheets that I have shown you today, I can email those to you, or you can go to our Botions Bright Stars Facebook page and look under the files. And I should have almost all of this, if not all of this, and those files as well. But let me know if there's anything you need. Thanks so much.